I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I need to set the tone for this video right now. I love this thing. Welcome to the Striker. Hello, I'm Raging Amish, and this is the Striker in Modern Warfare 3, or as I like to call it, Mr. Striker.
Mr. Striker.
I've had people begging for this video since the game first came out. Few weapons make people moan and scream so much at their TV screen. Just in case you're not aware, many players argue that the Striker is overpowered and dominates the other shotguns in terms of performance. While this is partially true, I think the community is overreacting. Still, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't like going into the juicy arguments without covering the facts. So, here's Mr. Striker in Modern Warfare 3. Available at level 48, the Striker is the 5th of 6 shotguns to be unlocked during your Prestige. For your fire type, the shotgun is semi-automatic. With each pull of the trigger, you shoot one shell. This makes the Striker unique, as it is the only semi-automatic shotgun in the game. Don't be deceived, however. The weapon is still capable of putting out 352 shells a minute. For reference, the AA-12 fires at a rate of 400 RPM. The Striker is again unique when we look at the capacity. The gun holds the greatest number of shells possible in a shotgun, and clocks in at a whopping 12 shots before needing to reload, or 18 if you have extended mags.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
The capacity does come at a price, however. The Striker has the weakest buckshot of all primary shotguns. Each shell fires 6 pellets that do a feeble 25 to 15 damage. If you do the math, that means you need to hit with 4 of 6 pellets for a one-shot kill. On top of that, the Striker does not get a headshot bonus. As with all shotguns, a shot to the body does the same amount of damage as a shot to the head. That sounds bad, right? Well, not exactly. While the shots are weak, the fire rate is high enough to ensure you can pump out shots very quickly. 2 quick pulls of the trigger should get you a kill. In net, the Striker actually balances out as one of the best close quarter weapons in the game. The high fire rate for a shotgun combined with a high capacity is very powerful up close. The key words here though are up close. If the enemy is more than a few feet away from you, the Striker has a rapid drop off to keep the weapon balanced. By 7.5 meters, the Striker starts to fall off from 25 damage. To make matters worse, at 15 meters, the Striker falls off completely to 0 damage.
What's wrong? Is my dingle dangling out of my fly?
I know some people probably are waiting to write a comment below with a counter argument. I ask that you humor me for a moment and watch the entire video before you say anything. Anyway, back to the review at hand. For reference, the wall in front of me is currently 15 meters away. That is the limit of the Striker's effective range. You will dominate enemies up close, I assure you, but at a distance, you need something else to bring to the battlefield. Keeping with the close quarter feel, the Striker's movement speed is fast at 100%. As you would expect, this shotgun can move quickly compared to an assault rifle or an LMG. As for your penetration power, it's pathetic. The Striker is like all shotguns with light penetration. This shouldn't be a problem, however. Just run around whatever obstacle is in front of you and exterminate the enemy campers. Believe me, the game is full of sedentary players, and the Striker is perfectly designed for fighting enemies who won't move. With Black Ops 2 coming up in a couple months, let's just say I hope the devs will make Call of Duty a little less camper-friendly in the future.
Oh. That's just what they'll be expecting us to do.
To help you fight on the go even more, the crosshairs are small. This shotgun has some of the smallest crosshairs in the game, and is incredibly effective when fired from the hip. Steady aim can help if you want said perk, but you really don't need it. The Striker has a high fire rate that blends well with the default crosshair size. Finally, for your idle sway, I would say it's relatively low. But instead, I'm going to tell you the truth. The idle sway doesn't matter. You should be firing your Striker from the hip. Aiming down the sight will have no effect on your pellet spread whatsoever. Fire from the hip and the hip alone. The Striker has been sounding pretty good so far, but now we're going to start seeing some of the weapon's more notable issues. For starters, the raise and drop speeds are average for a shotgun, but bad overall. The gun raises in a second and drops in 0.83 seconds. When you consider the Striker as a shotgun designed for close quarter dominance, these switch speeds will get you killed. I highly recommend using Sleight of Hand Pro. To round out the switch speeds, the ADS time comes in at an amazing who gives a crap. If you're aiming down the sight, believe me, you're not using the Striker properly. Like I said before, don't aim down the sight. Instead, pull out your Arnold Schwarzenegger mojo and shoot from the hip.
It's showtime.
Believe me, your ADS speed is unimportant, but your reload speeds definitely matter. The striker is flat out pathetic in this regard. By default, each shell reloads in 0.67 seconds, or roughly 3 shells every 2 seconds. If you have extended mags, you could potentially need 12 seconds to completely refill the striker. Sleight of hand is a must. Here's where things start to look up though. While the reloads are bad, the kick is very easy to control. More out of habit than actual purpose, I will show you the recoil profile, but it really doesn't matter. By default, the striker has a value of blabbity blabbity heading north, and who's a what's it heading left and right. You will notice the recoil profile is symmetric, heading in I don't care what direction. My biting sarcasm aside, I really do mean it. The recoil profile isn't important. You shouldn't be aiming down the sight, and the striker barely moves when firing from the hip. The reason is simple. Your fire rate is relatively low to begin with. The recoil profile is again low, and the center speed clocks in at 1000. Kick will be non-existent on this weapon. The striker does have some issues, yes, but recoil is not one of them. What's mildly ironic, however, is over half of your attachments are designed for helping you when you aim down the sight. Excuse me for a moment. My brain is short-circuiting. Red dot sight, holographic sight. As I've mentioned before, you really shouldn't be aiming down the sight if you're carrying the striker. You gain a slight aim assist bonus on the consoles if you aim down the sight, but that's it. If anything, I would say the sights are visually distracting as you run. I am not a fan of either attachment. I only advise using a sight if you're trying to level up your striker for better proficiencies and attachments. Grip. Truly, this attachment is worthless. I can't think of a good reason to pick the grip. The attachment ups your center speed, but that really doesn't do you much good when the recoil is already negligible. I don't advise using the grip unless of course you're doing the attachment challenge for weapon experience. I'm sorry, but I just can't use an attachment I don't respect.
What a pisser.
Silencer. The striker is the only shotgun that can truly pull off the suppressed playstyle. This attachment reduces your effective shot distance by 25%, but gives you stealth bonuses. The striker has a high enough fire rate that you can make this attachment work, although you're definitely going to need the range proficiency. Without it, the striker's range is downright pathetic. Still, with the proper setup, you can do well with the silencer. The fire rate is relatively high, and with range, you'll have a powerful weapon of stealth. Extended mags. Easily, the best attachment on the striker has to be extended mags. In all honesty, it kinda wins out by default. The sights don't fit the striker's fast playstyle at all. The silencer actually hurts the gun, and the grip offers nothing. Extended mags, however, really brings something to the table. With this attachment, your capacity and starting loadout are increased by 50%. If 12 shells wasn't enough for you, how does upgrading to 18 sound? To make things even more ridiculous, once upon a time, the striker was glitched. Extended mags used to make each shell fire 9 pellets. This got patched some time ago. Of course, if I was a little more in the ball, I would have told you about this months ago, so, yeah, the devs screwed up.
Huh? Who's the idiot now? Don't answer that.
Regardless, extended mags is a good attachment. 18 shells is more than you'll need, but you should be able to string together some nice kill streaks without needing to reload. Definitely use this attachment once it's available. With extended mags picked, up next is getting the right perks. For your blue tier, I found myself using one option and one option alone. That perk is Sleight of Hand. The striker's reloads are pathetically slow, and the switch speeds need an upgrade. Sleight of Hand is exactly what you need to make the striker lethal up close. As for your red perk, I have to admit I tinkered a little bit with Blast Shield. When fighting up close, you'll tend to be struck by random grenades or other enemy explosives. Blast Shield helps to keep you alive. Still, I'm not a fool. Shotguns are designed for running around behind enemy lines, and the last thing you need is enemy radar exposing your position. Because of that, I think Assassin is your best choice overall. I've made my opinion of this perk abundantly clear with time. I don't like it, and I think the developers were on Valium when they designed it. Still, I can't deny the truth. Assassin blends extremely well with the shotgun.
I feel insulted, yet oddly flattered at the same time.
For the yellow tier, I found myself really liking Steady Aim and Sitrep Pro. Specifically, Steady Aim helps with on-the-go action. The base version of this perk arguably isn't needed, but the Pro version helps you shoot quicker after sprinting. Still, Sitrep Pro also fits the striker. You will see enemy equipment, and the effective range of Sitrep Pro's hearing ability mixes well with twitchy, close-quarter combat. Still, the perks are small beans compared to your proficiency. You need one of two abilities to truly get power from the striker. The first is range, unlocked at level 23. Your pellets shoot 25% further, and the range boost really is quite powerful. Still, damage is also a decent option. Your pellet power is increased by 40%, making each shot all the more lethal. 3 pellets up close can kill. Admittedly, I liked picking damage so I could try to get the specialist bonus. You can potentially have damage and range at the same time. If you're a solid player, picking damage really is a good idea. As much as I like damage though, I have to admit range is the better option on a striker. Your fire rate and thus your damage output is already high. The range proficiency truly is your best choice here. To round out your class, you need to pick the right secondary. For me, the choice is simple. Use the solo MP9. This machine pistol plays like a watered down assault rifle, and is effective for those mid to long range battles. I didn't really like messing with overkill. I say stick to the MP9. If you really feel the need for a better weapon, swap out your MP9 for an assault rifle you find on the ground. In the end, I truly love Mr. Striker. The gun is reliable and all around fun to use. As you can guess, I have trouble understanding why people hate this gun. And believe me, you don't have to look far to find a hater. The only reasonable answer I can come up with is the gun's popularity. But here's where I run into a logic break. I remember playing Modern Warfare 2. The Striker was arguably the least popular shotgun in that game. MW2 had shotguns like the dual-wielded Rangers, the Spaz, the M1014, and even an insane AA-12 with a 16 shell capacity. When moving from MW2 into Modern Warfare 3, all of the shotguns got hit with the Nerf hammer, except for the Striker. I've put my opinion out there before. I think the devs either needed to make the shotguns primaries or they needed to nerf their performance a bit. Instead, they did both.
Oh, that's not right. No.
The Striker is the only weapon in tier to emerge from the shotgun nerf untouched. The Modern Warfare 3 range, pellet power, and capacity are all similar, if not identical, to the Striker's performance from Modern Warfare 2. I said this shotgun was good back then. Of course it's good now. In my opinion, the problem here is not the Striker. Instead, it's overly nervous developers who can't balance weapons for shit. Maybe you feel the same way I do after watching this video. Maybe you still hate Mr. Striker. Either way, I stand by my opinion. That concludes my review of Mr. Striker in Modern Warfare 3. I hope you enjoyed and that you'll join me next time, where I'll be bringing back the Amish warfare and taking a look at the machine pistols. Until then, this is Raging Amish, checking out.